Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It is Thursday's 13. We're counting down 13 states that have the most tornadoes, I believe is what we're counting down, as well as covering some general news stories like news about the Olympics. So welcome to Before Coffee, the comprehensive news of planet Earth without any caffeine. That's what I was going to say. Let's go ahead and get into those headlines. Today on Before Coffee. Ooh la la! Vile French pole vaulter gets job offers from porn sites.
We have earthquake news. Earthquake in Japan and earthquakes in California.
Standing together. What the papers say about far-right rallies and counter-protests in the UK.
And more Mother Nature news. We list the places with the most tornadoes, at least last year.
We're not doing anything wrong. Why the word Taiwan is banned at the Olympics.
And it's National Sneak Some Zucchini into Your Neighbor's Porch Day. Is that a zucchini in your hand, or are you just happy to see me? On August 8th, 2024, on Before Coffee.
Okay, let's get into our first news story about this famous pole vaulter. I've even seen the images of this happening on the internet. Ooh la la. When one door closes, another opens. And apparently, the 21-year-old French athlete has been offered a lucrative career opportunity in the adult industry. This is from David Morquand on Euronews. Anyone who's been following the Paris Olympic Games has seen it now. French pole vaulter Anthony Ammirati made headlines for not for getting on the podium, but being denied a medal last week because of his dream-shattering manhood. Ammirati became a viral sensation with crude jokes on social media and headlines like, "Pole vaulter's Olympic dreams shattered by his own penis," courtesy of Metro UK, and a hard defeat. French pole vaulter goes viral after his penis cost him the Olympics. Nice one, Jerusalem Post. Renee Stubbs, the former professional tennis player and Serena Williams coach at the 2022 US Open, even offered some advice to Ammirati, saying, "Seriously, when your sport is all about getting your body over a bar and it's a matter of millimeters, my man, call a drag queen. She'll teach you how to tuck it. This is unbelievable."
You wouldn't get that lift.
There's also a tweet that said, "Every game right now, when asked who they're rooting for in the Olympic pole vaulting." That guy. I hope he wins. But as the saying goes, one door closes, another opens. And the 21-year-old athlete has now been offered a lucrative career in the adult industry. Just casually asking, how do you think you do as a pole vaulter on a first date? Indeed, adult industry professionals clearly think Ammirati has a star quality. As the vice president of porn site Cam Soda, Darren Parker has reportedly offered the Frenchman a six-figure sum to show off his talent. According to TMZ, which claims to have received a copy of the letter, Parker told Ammirati, "If it was up to me, I'd award you for what everyone else saw, your talent below the belt. As a lover of crotch-centric activities, I'd love to offer you up $250,000 in exchange for a 60-minute webcam show in which you show off your goods, minus the crossbar, of course. Or maybe also include the crossbar. Maybe that's what people are into, the specific crossbar bit." Apparently, Ammirati has yet to respond to Cam Soda's offer. Sounds like, honestly, I don't know where Cam Soda's from, but if they're from the US, it's going to be a bit of trouble. You know, you have to sign a bunch of paperwork and stuff. Maybe a French porn company can pay him. The pole incident landed the Olympian in 12th place, and while Ammirati has not mentioned the bulge situation, he did speak to the French Athletics Federation about his performance. "It's a big disappointment. I'm a bit gutted because I didn't miss anything on the third attempt at 5.7 meters. What I did miss was a bit of jumping and training to fine-tune the settings. Just a technical-ish session," Ammirati said. "I was 100% physicality, but I was missing a bit of pole vault," Ammirati added. "The conditions were good. It's the first time I've started a competition without any stress. As I was a total outsider, I had only one goal, to interact with the audience. I was almost there. We'd say that he succeeded admirably when it comes with interaction with an audience. Maybe not the audience he wanted, but the audience he deserves. So there is your kind of cute little positive news story for today's show about the pole vaulter who wish he could. On to your stories.
Come on, baby. Show us a little skin. That's what it would be. The sexist male version of it, right?
I mean, if somebody was offering me $250,000, I'd take it. But I don't have a famous pole vaulting scenario that happened, you know?
Yeah. Lots of good pole double entendres. Lots of rising to the occasion. You know, just so many. It's all just out there.
So many
easiest
jokes that just tell themselves, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So, from the Olympic dick joke, we get onto the serious business of earthquakes. So we got the most recent one first, which is Japan. This is abcnews.com. Strong earthquake with preliminary magnitude of 7.1 strikes coast of Japan. A strong earthquake with a preliminary magnitude of 7.1 has rocked the coast of southern Japan, according to the U.S. Geological. The epicenter of the earthquake is just a dozen miles off the coast of the city of Miyazaki on the island of Kyushu in Japan, but the Japan Meteorological Agency has now lifted tsunami advisories to all but the Miyazaki prefecture. There were reports of people falling and sustaining non-life-threatening injuries. One home in Kagoshima is said to have collapsed, but no injuries were reported. Regional nuclear plants are still reporting no abnormalities. Miyazaki Airport experienced delays. And while bullet train services have resumed for a region, local services may still be disrupted. The people of southwestern Japan seem to have avoided major damage, though the shaking would have been terrifying. Excuse me, I'm running out of breath again. The epicenter was located in Hayaganada Sea, just off the eastern coast, of Japan, southern main island of Kyushu, and was measured at a depth of about 30 kilometers or 18.6 miles. The Japan Meteorological Agency initially issued a tsunami advisory predicting waves of up to 1 meter or 3.3 feet along the southern coast of Kyushu and nearby island of Shikoku. People have an urge to stay away from the coast or river and have been warned that other quakes, even the same magnitude, may occur. Video filmed by Ryosuke Take, an employee at a local radio station in Hiroshima on Japan's island of Kyushu, shows objects in the office vigorously shaking. The shaking was very strong, Ryosuke told ABC News. Listeners also reported that in private homes, dishes fell from kitchens. Nearby hotels have reported that elevators and kitchens are unstable. One area in Kochi Prefecture is ordering residents to evacuate, but drastic sea level changes have not been reported. The quake registered a low 6 in the hardest hit areas, very high in the Japanese shake scale, which goes from 0 to 7. It would have been strong enough to knock over furniture, damning some concrete buildings, and even topple some wooden ones. However, there are currently no reports of any major damage. Shaking was not felt in the capital city of Tokyo. Additionally, there have been no change or irregularities reported within regional nuclear plants at all so far. So that's about a 2-hour-old story for a very recent event. We're going to California for days. This is from CBS News. Dozens of aftershocks follow a 5.2 magnitude earthquake near Bakersfield that rattled Southern California all the way to LA. I've been through earthquakes worse than 5.2 in California, but they do a lot more damage around 6. Dozens of aftershocks allow a 5.2 magnitude earthquake near Bakersfield, Preliminary 5.2 magnitude earthquake struck near Bakersfield and shook all the way to Los Angeles County. It happened around 9 p.m., which is Tuesday, I believe, which was, yes, it was on Tuesday. It happened at 9 p.m., 9:09 p.m., roughly 14.2 miles southwest of Lamont, California, which borders Bakersfield. Bakersfield is a relatively rural area, about 89 miles north of downtown Los Angeles. After the earthquake, the Los Angeles Fire Department deployed helicopters to survey the region for any potential damages. Our LAFD has activated to conduct its routine survey of the city and assess for any damages. Mayor Ken Bass posted on social media. City teams will continue to monitor any impacts. After conducting the survey, firefighters found no significant damage to infrastructure of any buildings. LAFD received 0 injury reports within LA city limits. Geologists believe there is little to no risk of landslide or liquefaction in the area, according to the U.S. Geological Survey. More than 24 earthquakes followed the original, with magnitudes between 2.5 and 4.5. The aftershocks struck near Lamont and Grapevine. About 25% of the aftershocks tend to happen within an hour after the original quake. The USGS recorded 3 aftershocks above a magnitude of 4. The vast majority of the aftershocks, about 15, were below 3. About 9 more magnitude 3.8 earthquakes struck the region shortly after the original. This is a pretty active sequence for a very short amount of time since the event, seismologist Dr. Lucy Jones said. She said the aftershocks were within a range of typical sequence of earthquakes. The United States Geological Survey posted a map depicting the intensity of the shaking in the region surrounding Lamont. According to the map, the shaking was in mid-LA County, but light and moderate near the epicenter of Lamont. So Alan Husker, a seismologist research professor at the California Institute of Technology, attributed to shaking in the LA basin effect. Basins, due to their softer nature, tend to magnify the shaking. Jones said the earthquake originated in the southern end of Central Valley, close to the epicenter of a magnitude 7.5 earthquake that rocked the region in 1952. However, it does not appear to be on the same fault as that earthquake. It doesn't look like this recent earthquake is associated with any known fault. Jones believes there's a 5% chance that the 5.2 magnitude earthquake was a foreshock. Similar to every other earthquake in California, there's no indication that this is any different. So, like saying, a foreshock is worse than an aftershock. If something really big could come after it. In terms of chances, this is a foreshock. We had the same answer for every earthquake. It's about 5% chance. 1 in 20 earthquakes in California, Southern California, we see are followed by something larger and turns out to be a foreshock within the next few days. The risk of earthquakes being a foreshock drastically drops with time. 1/4 of all foreshocks are within an hour of the main shock. By the time we get to 3 days out, essentially the risk will be gone. Well, the risk will be gone immediately, but there's always the risk of an earthquake. Don't act like it disappeared. That's it. No chance of an earthquake now. It's been 3 days. No, it don't work that way. Just a bunch of stress still building up somewhere, and it's got to be released. So, and of course, they go on to say there's no connection between the earthquake and the pole vault penis. So that was not the cause of this earthquake. So at least it wasn't that. Little humor. Back to you.
Coming from earthquakes in the real world to political earthquakes,
Wow.
Helen Livingston. Please stop calling me. Helen Livingstone on The Guardian is looking at how the UK papers have been reporting on the far-right protest and counter-protest in the UK. UK headlines were dominated by far-right rallies and protesters who set out to counter them, with much of the expected violence failing to materialize. Even as shops shut up early and local police forces in England and Wales brace for unrest, far-right gatherings either did not take place or were outnumbered by counter-protesters who formed human chains around asylum centers. The Guardian splashed on Thousands take to the streets to counter threat from far right, with a picture of crowds in Walthamstow, East London, waving placards reading, "Refugees welcome" and "Stop the far right." The Daily Telegraph ran with "Britain shuts up shops over riot threats," reporting that MPs had been advised to work from home while GP surgeries closed and shops boarded up their windows, with a picture of a man hammering up plywood across the front of Samaritan's charity shop in Southend, Essex. The Eye headlined on "Far-right rioters face football ban as ministers bid to curb unrest," writing that rioters involved in violence could be barred from matches as police probe links with hooliganism. I'm not really surprised that some of the far-right protesters are hooligans. Hooligans all want to riot. That's what they want to do, okay? Maybe I'm prejudiced, but that's what they do. They just want to trash the town for some reason. The Daily Mail front page featured a picture of a counter-protester in Walthamstow, headlining it, "Night anti-hate marches face down the thugs," and reported that thousands had taken the streets to stare down feared far-right rioters. The Independent showed the mugshots of 3 men jailed for their roles in last week's Southport riots, with their sentences in bold under the headline, "The full force of the law," adding that they are the first of many to be jailed over the violence. The Daily Mirror has also used a picture of Walthamstow counter-protesters with the headlines, "Power of the people" and "Standing Together," writing that thousands of anti-racists had turned out to thwart the far-right thugs blighting Britain. The Express headline its splash, "United Britain stands firm against thugs," and also used a picture of counter-protesters in Walthamstow. They must have been buying, like, I think they all bought the same picture from the same guy. It looks like it's the same photo. That person made their money. Oh, this is gonna be a great shot. All right, pay up. You want a picture live from Walthamstow? I've got one for you. I'm serious. It looks like it's the same picture every time.
Yeah. Stock photo.
The Times also used Walthamstow to illustrate its headline, "Thousands take to the streets to confront the far right," reporting in its subheading, "Police warn of 100 clashes across England and rioters handed sentences up to 3 years. The Metro took a different angle on the protest, writing in its headline, "Coons pawns stoking riot," under the line, "Russians targeting UK far-right channels." Ah, the Metro's going for the conspiracy angle. This is only happening because the Russians want to disturb our peace in the UK. Now they're disturbing us. Putin's pawns stoking riots. So there are your spattering of headlines coming out of the UK on the riots, and it looks like a lot of the newspapers are focusing on how the English are coming together, or the British are coming together to fight against these protesters and counter-protest. The counter-protests are larger than the actual far-right protest against this hooliganism, thuggery, I guess is what they're saying, and just overall prejudiced against people who were English. I'll say this again, the person who committed the crime was an English person. Not just because they have brown skin doesn't mean everyone from one country and all countries that is in the UK are violent criminals. But that's a little too hard for these small-brained people to understand. Onto your Thursday 13.
All right. And more Mother Nature. We're going to talk about twisters. Did you know? Well, we love twisters. We love tornadoes, and the proof is that a movie called Twisters made two. I'm sorry, no mic.
We love twisters and tornadoes. Is that what we? I don't know if I love them.
We love them because the movie Twisters made $202 million, despite having basically a plot of, hey, a bunch of tornadoes are going to happen. Another one, Sharknado. Don't forget that. Sharknado made a lot of money for a low budget, and it was only shown on cable, and I think it was only shown on cable for a little while, and had a lot of views. So we love tornadoes. We can deny it. And United States. And so our list today is the states with the most twisters. And See how I did twisters in a little artsy way? Anyway. Here's our list, and why are we listing the states in the United States? That's because the United States has more tornadoes than anybody else, and it isn't even close. There's 1,150 to 1,200 tornadoes in the United States every year.
And there's
Canada
maybe 5
is second
in Germany.
Canada's second, right? There might be 5 in Germany, and Canada's second with 100.
Okay.
I mean, Canada's right next to the United States, and it's got a Great Plains area. And of course, it's unpopulated for a lot of its tornado belt, which is in like Saskatchewan and Alberta. Anyway, back onto our list, which is, I don't need a guide except my camera. The states with the most, so we're going to count them down 13 backwards. The state with the most twisters. Some of these you might not guess. Number 13 is Florida. Florida, which has the most hurricanes. And hurricanes a lot of times spawn tornadoes, and of course it's also known as Thunder Alley, or what do you want to call it, Thunderstorm Alley. It's also very flat, so there's nothing to stop a tornado as far as landforms from wind swirling. Number 12 is Oklahoma, where we lived for about 6 months, and we experienced no tornadoes, but a couple of earthquakes, strangely enough. Although Oklahoma is famous for the big ones in Oklahoma City, it is only 12th on the list. By the way, the list is number afterwards. This is the number of tornadoes last year, 2023. So Florida had 47, Oklahoma had 48 confirmed tornadoes, individual tornadoes. Number 11 is Indiana, another flat state. No big surprise. Indiana with 51 total tornadoes last year. On to the fun states. Tennessee, which Tennessee is where the Great Plains start. You have the mountains. You have the Appalachian Mountains. But you also have a vast plain starting to the west. And they spawned 53 tornadoes last year in Tennessee. Ohio, another state that's got half plains and half mountainous, is number 9. If you know anything about geography at all, that kind of would surprise you that they have that many. I would think a state like Wisconsin would have more, but they don't. Number 8 is a surprise to me, Georgia. Georgia is a very mountainous regions. Wow. Yeah, Georgia last year had 58 tornadoes. Number 7, Iowa. These are the states we're used to seeing on the tornado list. 73 tornadoes in Iowa. And that's quite a lot, actually, considering summers aren't really that long. You know, summer's not really that long in Iowa.
I thought it was just boring there, but I guess they have tornadoes.
Well, Field of Dreams happened there.
Oh, okay. I thought that was Idaho, but I always get those two confused.
That's where baseball
players. They're both boring. Boo! The ice states are the
baseball
worst.
Players.
Indiana included. And Illinois.
Next. Yeah, well, we're going to cover all the prairie states because Nebraska's next at 81 tornadoes. Nebraska is not really that populous, so it's got a lot of land where people are just watching them wet.
Like Nebraska has nothing happening in it except for tornadoes, so.
Shout out to my friends in Nebraska. Yes, and Mississippi is number 5. We're down to the top 5. Mississippi, one of the poorest states, one of the flattest states, and right in Tornado Alley. All right, Mississippi, one of the easiest states to spell. Number 4 is Texas. You wouldn't think Texas get a lot of tornadoes because nobody there has a storm cellar. So if you have a tornado headed your way in Texas, you're basically getting in an interior room in your house and hope no glass goes flying around. But Texas is number 4 in the most tornadoes, at least last year. Don't tell them that in Texas. It might confuse them because they probably don't even think they get tornadoes. I don't know. Colorado is up there with 89. That doesn't say 101. I crossed it out. Colorado is number 3. Like, what, Colorado? That's the Rocky Mountains, everybody. Yeah, it's the Rocky Mountains. But right next to the Rocky Mountains is a really, really flat plain. I mean, extremely flat. Eastern Colorado is one of the flattest places you'll ever see. Number 2. And we have still not hit Kansas with Dorothy. Do you believe that? Still no Kansas.
Well, that's because they're number 1, right?
Alabama at 101 is number 2. Nice. Alabama right next to Mississippi.
Or maybe not so nice.
Wedged between Georgia and Mississippi, who are also on this list, is Alabama.
Last year.
Yeah, 101 tornadoes last year in Alabama. And again, we hear about these in early spring. These are your early spring tornadoes, or Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana.
When the
number 1, you thought
when it first starts warming up.
Okay, so you thought the number 1 would be Kansas, or do you have any other guesses? It's going to be a flat state. It's going to be somewhere between Appalachia and the Rockies. What state's it going to be? You say Kansas, and you are wrong. It's Illinois. Illinois had the most, with 136, actually by quite a large margin, the most tornadoes last year. It doesn't mean everybody in Illinois is doing anything wrong. Nobody in any of these states is doing anything wrong. It's just that they're flat. And there's nothing to stop these weather systems from the Gulf and the Arctic systems from the north combining and creating swirling. So there's your list of the places where things fly around and
destroy your house.
And people love tornadoes, whether we want to admit it or not. We are fascinated by them. I always sit there and watch these storm chasers and go, oh, they're in Iowa. I wonder if they're going to see some debris fly across the road. Oh, look, there's a wind turbine blowing down. Ah! So there's your Twister report on Thursday 13. Oh, I sent you a video, so.
Okay, well, I didn't see that, so I have to do it after my story.
It's already edited.
Which, my story, we're talking about Taiwan.
All right.
And why the word is banned at the Olympics. This is by Helen Davidson on The Guardian. Angela Yang thought she knew the Olympic rules. No national flags, no political messages. She was excited to support her compatriot athletes at the Olympics Games in France, where she was living and studying. So the Taiwanese student made what she thought was an uncontroversial sign, the outline of her home island with the words, Jiayu Taiwan, Go Taiwan, written in Chinese. But as she unfurled the sign in the stadium stands to watch her team play China in badminton, she was quickly surrounded. I was holding my poster and the security kept talking to his co-worker with his walkie-talkie. After that, there was a man. We think he's a Chinese man. He stood in front of me to block the poster. The man then ripped it from her hands. I was really surprised. I was really sad and angry at the same time, Yang said. We're not doing anything wrong. Why would we be treated like this? Taiwan's foreign ministry described the incident as violent and against Olympic values of friendship and respect. It has called on French authorities to investigate. In response, the IOC said there were very clear rules disallowing banners. Ah, loophole. No, this isn't about Taiwan. This is about banners. Yeah, you are not allowed to use those. For decades, Olympians from Taiwan, formerly the Republic of China, have had to compete under the name Chinese Taipei. The rule is strictly enforced by the International Olympic Committee, who probably gets handouts from the Chinese government. That was my editorial, not a fact, just my own theory. The rules are often attributed to pressures on the IOC from the Chinese Communist Party government, which claims Taiwan is a Chinese territory it intends to annex. It uses, like, what other country in the world does this, you know? You know what? I consider that part of my country because I plan on annexing it. Not that I have, but I plan on it, so it's basically part of my country. We have no hands in the government or anything they run, but they're part of our country because we said so. It uses its hefty influence to shrink as much of Taiwan's international space as it can, whether that's at the United Nations or Birdwatching Association. I'm sorry, what?
No,
Birdwatching World's feathers ruffled over Taiwan independence. Oh no. There was a Bird Life International competition and Taiwan wasn't allowed to speak about independence, and they got bullied by China. That's so dumb. Okay, they can't even leave them alone at a bird-watching association. But the name Chinese Taipei also dates back to Taiwan's former authoritarian rulers who for decades vied with Beijing to officially represent China on the international stage. In 1976, they rejected an offer from the IOC to compete as Team Taiwan instead of Republic of China. Oh yeah, but that was in 76. Today, Team Taiwan would more accurately represent the population, which increasingly identifies as primarily Taiwanese, but it is no longer an option. Now, Taiwan is one of the just 3 teams whose flag is banned at the Olympics. The other 2 are Russia, because Russia, and Belarus, also because of Russia. Banned as punishment for Moscow's invasion of Ukraine. Under apparent pressure from China, the IOC refuses to let Taiwan enter under its national name. US politicians have described the IOC's stance as uniquely irrational, saying that even if it was commonly accepted that Taiwan was a territory, others like British territory of Bermuda and US Puerto Rico were allowed to compete under their own name. Exactly! I was just about to say this. Technically, Puerto Rico is part of the United States as a territory. Everyone who's born there is a US citizen. But they're still allowed to participate in the Olympics under their own country, Puerto Rico, not the United States. But Taiwan, what is China doing? What is China threatening? They're gonna bomb IOC's headquarters? I just don't understand how China has such a huge influence on the Olympic Committee in order to enforce this rule. The incident was one of several at the Paris Games to spark anger among Taiwanese people over Olympic rules which restrict the way they can cheer on their national team. Fans have tried to be creative. One sign at the badminton finals cheered on a bubble Tea-land. Another spelled that, oh, that's true, Tea-land. I've seen that actually. Bubble tea is really popular in Taiwan and Thailand as well. Another spelled out Taiwan with pictures of food. But on the same day Yang San was grabbed, security were pictured confiscating a towel with Taiwan written on it. The design incorporated a video review decision from the 2020 badminton final in Tokyo, which gave Taiwan the gold medal over China. A man wearing a t-shirt with the same design was told to put on a jacket. Cover that shirt or take your shirt off. Tadi Hisue, president of the Taiwanese Association in France, told Taiwan media a blank piece of cardboard had been taken from her by officials who ignored her complaints about nearby Chinese fans having a larger than allowed flag. She told the CNA she'd been told they had received an instruction from Olympics Games saying that anything related to Taiwan or showing Taiwan cannot appear. And there have been widespread allegations of Chinese nationals pointing out Taiwanese supporters to security. Oh no, a bunch of snakes, a bunch of rats. That person has Taiwan on them. Get them! At Taipei main station on Sunday, which was the 4th of August. Ew! Oh, bless me. Thousands gathered to watch Taiwan defend and repeat their gold medal win in the men's badminton doubles. Fans waved the national flag as well as the official Chinese Taipei banner. The highly charged match was a thrilling derby as the 2020 battle in Tokyo, but it also promoted some sadness as the medal ceremony raised the IOC-sanctioned flag for Chinese Taipei and a different song repurposed for the Olympics played instead of the anthem. In some international environments, we don't have a lot of opportunity to say we are Taiwan. So at this time, we wanted to stand up and say, we are from Taiwan, said Nancy Tung, a 23-year-old student at the station. For 3 Taiwanese friends in the crowd, they were pragmatic. We just love Taiwan. Taiwan and Chinese Taipei are still all Taiwan, said Ivy Shea, and a Taiwanese fan also watching the match. Yang plans to go to the police and has support from the Taiwan's representative in France, Wu Shixung. When facing the Chinese team, the IOC will treat Taiwan very harshly, Wu told Taiwan media. Yang said the current rules are nonsense and she hopes they can change soon. I hope in the Olympic Games we can support our team just like other people can, she said. We follow the rules, but why can't we bring our own posters that's neutral and non-political? That's all I want, and all I hope Taiwanese people can do. I got stuck on Taiwanese. So, yeah, it's a tough situation and just another reason why, in some ways, China deserves its criticism that it receives on the daily around the globe. It's just get over yourself, dude. Like, I know I hate on America a lot, but I don't see America doing this kind of stuff, you know? Guam is part of America! They're not allowed to use the Guam flag, you know? This kind of idea is just global bullying, and I'm sick and tired of people allowing it to happen. Onto your story.
That's right. I mean, the only people that really aren't allowed in the Olympics are the Russians. Notice Russia doesn't have an Olympic. Right? Belarus too? Okay. And North Korea.
They're both banned. North Korea's allowed because they are not invading anybody right now, currently.
No, it's not about invasions. Russian athletes can go. I think they went to the last Olympics. Well, the original reason Russians are not allowed to represent the Olympics because they were cheating. They were cheating on their blood doping. It wasn't about. It was 2021 Olympics was pre-invasion. Well, the Olympics are in 21. They postponed them a year.
I'm just saying this reporter just reported that was because they invaded Ukraine, so they're not allowed to compete, is what it said. That's all.
Yeah, that's not accurate. The reason they're not allowed to compete is because of blood doping, because it was pre-invasion last time. Now, maybe that's an extra added reason, but they were not allowed to field a team because so many of their athletes were testing positive for blood doping. They just had to say, forget it, your total committee is in violation. And that's why they're not allowed. I mean,
of course, China is also getting hate on that front as well for doping.
Not wholesale like the Russians were, and they sent athletes that would pass individually to 2020. I'm not sure they're doing it this year. They sent athletes at like a Russian federation type thing, and Belarus, as you say, was probably doing the same thing. I don't remember them being involved. Yeah, so there's politics in the Olympics with that for sure. I don't get the Taiwan can't compete because they're not really a country. That's nonsense. You're excluding them from national debates, Anyway, if they're part of your country, why are they not part of your national debate? They're not. Okay, so you did get the video though, right?
Yep, I got the video.
All right, there's no editing required. This day in history is August the 8th. What happened? Going chronologically from the far distant past, is from Britannica.com. We're looking for a better site, but until then, in 1588, the English fleet won a decisive battle over the Spanish Armada off the coast of Gravelines in northern France. In 1846, the Wilmot Proviso, an attempt to prohibit the extension of slavery to new territories in the United States, was proposed, and in the debate that followed, the Republican Party was born. It doesn't say where. 1901, American physicist Ernest Orlando Lawrence, winner of the 1939 Nobel Prize, was born in Hampton, South Dakota. He won the Nobel Prize for Physics for his invention of the cyclotron, the first particle accelerator to achieve high energy. Oh, he was born in 1901. He did the cyclotron in 1939. Quite advanced for that day and age, I would imagine. 1907, jazz musician Benny Carter was born in New York City. He's an original and influential masterly composer and arranger, an important band leader, trumpeter, and a trumpeter. That sounds like a musketeer that fights with a trumpet.
Yeah.
And a clarinetist. On this day, in 1945, the United States, the Soviet Union, the United Kingdom, and France signed the London Agreement, which authorized Nuremberg trials, and the former Nazi leaders were indicted and tried as war criminals by the International Military Tribunal. 1963, armed robbers stole 2.6 million pounds sterling from the Glasgow-London Royal Mail train near Bridego Bridge, north of London, in the Great Train Robbery. See, it gave it a name. The Great Train Robbery. Not the mid to average train robbery. Not the fair to Midland train robbery. The Great Train Robbery. 1981, Swiss tennis player Roger Federer was born and became regarded as one of the world's greatest players. 1992, the U.S. Olympic basketball team, which had been dubbed the Dream Team because of the all-star roster, easily defeated Croatia to win the gold medal at the Barcelona game. And
not really, if that's worth celebrating.
Ever.
The country where they played the most basketball won against their gold medal. Woohoo! Surprise!
Well, here's what happened. Well, what happened was they lost one of the 88 Olympics. Oh my God, Brazil or somebody beat them. They lost their shit. Oh my God, it's one thing to lose to Russia because they got these, professional teams, and well, now we're losing to these teams, and they lost their mind. So we got to send our pros. So you got what you got this year. You got Olympic Village with a bunch of poor athletes scraping MVPs, and saving, staying in the village. And a bunch of NBA players living like millionaires, living in the fancy hotels. Some of them in their 40s. Nothing wrong with being in the Olympics when you're 40. But if you're nearly a billionaire and you really don't need this, well, I'm doing it for my country. Well, that's cool. You could have done it for your country when you were 20. You could have done it when you were 23. Not when you're a billionaire, and nobody really cares. I have no pride over NBA players beating anyone. First of all, the best players in the world are not Americans, and one of the things they've done this time, Joel Embiid on the team. Joel Embiid's from Cameroon, but all these American citizens now. I'm like, yeah, but wouldn't Cameroon want a shot? Maybe at that Olympic, getting in the Olympics. Greece would not be in the Olympics with Giannis. Playing for Greece. Probably play for Nigeria if you wanted to. I'm just saying these players who have millions of dollars can choose to play for any team they want, and they're going to play for the team that's definitely going to win. Come on, man. Don't be a ringer. Anyway, it's a little diatribe on how boring the NBA is in general, and I really don't want to see their players. I don't want to see a bunch of Boston Celtics and LA Lakers, playing for my country. I don't like those teams. They're favored by the NBA. They're pushed by the NBA. The NBA forces them on us. They make sure that we know they exist constantly. And now they're going to dominate the Olympic team. Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry. Now that's the end of my diatribe. Near 2000 on this day, the wreckage of the Hunley, a Confederate submarine that was lost during the American Civil War, was raised from the ocean floor near Sullivan's Island, South Carolina. It was the first submarine to sink in 1864, an enemy ship. So there was your submarine history from 2000. 2011, Tibetan scholar Lobsang Sangye was inaugurated as the prime minister for the Tibet government in exile, becoming the first non-monk and the first person born outside Tibet to hold the position. Our featured event, you don't have it on this day, Nixon resigned. Yes, Richard Nixon resigned on this day in 1974, 50 years ago today. Nixon resigned, wow. Faced with a near certain prospect of impeachment. Happy anniversary, yes. Faced with a near certain prospect of impeachment for his role in Watergate scandal, U.S. President Richard M. Nixon announced his resignation. And this day in 1974 was replaced by Gerald Ford. The following day, or Nixon's famous phrase, "I am not a crook. I am just a severely dishonest person." That's his famous saying. Yeah, that last part was added by me, but he was a severely dishonest person. Our other feature biography today, Emiliano Zapata, Mexican revolutionary, born on August 8, 1879 in Acapulco, Mexico, and he died at the age of 39, quite young, April 10th, 1919 in Morelos, Mexico. Other birthdays today, P.A.M. Dirac, an English physicist born in 1902. Esther Williams, American swimmer and actress, born in 1921. Dustin Hoffman. Mrs. Robinson, are you trying to seduce me? Dustin Hoffman, born in 1937. Jimmy Wales, American entrepreneur, born in 1966. And we already covered Roger Federer. And what day is it? Sweet Jesus, it's a lot of days today. It's Hey, it's got to work all these together.
Yep.
It's National Happiness Happens Day. I don't know if that doesn't make you happy. Holding a zucchini. I don't know. National Frozen Custard Day. Yeah, that's worth having a day for. National Dollar Day. Just $1, not any other kind. As I see a picture, and they're only holding ones. So I guess when you go to the store in America, only paying ones. Get all your ones together and just, you know, like you just get off your shit with the strip joint. You know, I got a lot of singles. National CBD Day. So when you're peeling off them dollar bills, you're going to be paying for some CBD because they don't take credit cards. Well, they don't. CBD is legal. It's THC.
It's been legal for a long time. They found it helps with seizures. Only. So they got legalized pretty soon after that.
Every state has it legal in the United States. Global Sleep Under the Stars Night. You can get CBD from a total plant. They want to mix THC too. So it's another cannabis. It's a relative. It's a, what is it? Under the same. I don't know the term. Umbrella. It's Global Sleep Under the Stars Night. So after you got your CBD, you might be relaxed enough to do that. I'm getting led by mosquitoes. You guys are in mosquito country. A lot of places don't have mosquitoes. California doesn't have mosquitoes. Not a mosquito in sight. National Whataburger Day. Oh, there might be some stagnant water somewhere that has them. National Whataburger. Whataburger is a chain in the Southwest, dominating Texas and New Mexico. Big, fat, juicy, greasy Whataburger. It's National Mochi Day. Mochi is a confection. Or mochi. Maybe you know. M-O-C-H-I. It's a confection. And it looks like it's sweet. And it's National Pickleball Day. So it's all of those things. So pickleball and zucchini, does that mix? I don't know. So that's a whole load of stuff for August 8th, 2024 on Before Frozen Custard.
It's like ice cream, but also not like ice cream. This has been Alison here from the Netherlands, where it's going good. Mostly, my dentistry worked out from last week, and we are going in to the weekend soon, so don't forget to subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and like this video. That way you can see more of us on your algorithm. And we will see you tomorrow.
Frozen custard is made with eggs, by the way.
Huh?
Frozen custard is made with eggs. That's why it's not the same as ice cream. Back to you.
Okay, yeah. Eggs.
That's a difference. We will see you tomorrow for
Friday's news dump. We're going to dump you all the news we can find before the weekend. If there's any news stories you think we should talk about, go ahead and hit us up on anywhere you can find us. Twitter, I think, on my Threads profile, on the DM, somebody somewhere, on the Discord. I have a Discord that you can also message us on. And we'll check out that news story. Let's go ahead and get into our mic drop moment.
And please do check out Project 2025. Because I'm telling you,
this is the Michigan rally.
It is a plan to weaken America's middle
so
class.
Gaza protesters. There's a big population in Michigan of Palestinians.
Well, to be fair, she was the vice president when nothing was done.
Well, she didn't make the policy. But again, Trump ain't going to be better.
It doesn't matter.
She's letting them talk.
She knows they're there. That's all. That's why they're there. To make her know that make her remember that they're there. That they're part of her constituency.
I am speaking now. So Project 2025. Look, if he is elected,
I do feel like politicians are focusing way too much on this Project 2025.
corporations.
and not enough on actual policy that they're going to be doing.
Okay, well, that's not the point of the video.
Our fight against the climate crisis, and he intends to end the Affordable Care Act. You know what? If you want Donald Trump to win, then say that, otherwise I'm speaking.
What is with that lady in the background who's like, get out? No, they don't need to get out. They just need to be quiet. We don't need polarization in the left. That's all I'm saying, okay? That's all. The reason why the left loses is because we polarize each other. And we start infighting.
Lester Holt pops up.
Or follow us on social media.
Sorry about Lester.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.